Hey guys, Ben Killer aka Spy Hates Me from Twitter. What I want to go over real quick is what I look for when I'm considering a stock for a LEAP investment. If you don't know what a LEAP investment is, I do have another video on my YouTube channel that kind of gives you an explanation of LEAP investments and a basic strategy on them. So the first thing that really puts a stock on my radar to be a candidate a lot of times is, other than I do go through charts day in and day out, hundreds of them, and just kind of do manual scans, but I also watch option flow all the time. Unusual Whales and Cheddar Flow both have great services for subscriptions. If you don't want to subscribe, you can always use Thinkorswim by TD Ameritrade. If you click over here in the trade tab underneath the ticker, you see the option chain right here. 2 ticks below that is option time and sales. Click on that, and you can watch the real-time option data come through, the tape or whatever you want to call it. I usually have 2 of these open. One of them is sorted by quantity, so the largest size floats to the top, and the other one is sorted by time. That way I can see real-time data come through. And then over here on filter, you can kind of filter out the small guys. This one's set at 50. Usually I have it set higher than that. That way I can just see only the big option flows, the ones that really matter, and filter out the small 1, 2, 3s, 10s, 20 contracts, because those aren't really the deciding factor, or those the ones don't really stand out. So sometimes when you're watching this, you'll see unusual options come through. So I'll show you the one that put this one on the map for me, ticker VIAC. I was watching, and this January of 2022 $4.8 million call order came in, and that's a leap, because that's a pretty big leap, and so that put it on the radar for me. So that gave me the idea to go ahead and chart it out and see if I can see what the whale sees. If you cannot see what the whale sees, you do not have the same conviction as the whale that placed that order, then you do not need to place that order. If you do not know why they placed it, then do not place it. If you can figure out why they placed it and you can agree with them, then you can place it. Alright, so first thing I would like to do when I pull up the chart is I like to go to the furthest time range out, which is the monthly. So here's the monthly time range, and you got to find something that you like. I like to find things that I like. If I can't find anything that I like on the monthly time frame, then I'm not going to like the weekly, and then I'm not going to like the daily. This is a long-term investment, so you're going to want to look at the long-term time frame first. So what I see right now is, you can see there's a support line right here, and it came down from that all-time high and it hit that support line and it bottomed out right there. So that's a good sign that this could be a good base for its move. I like to find stocks that are beaten down and found a good base, and so that you have a good base for the next move. And then I'm a big fan of simple moving averages. I like to keep it simple. Moving averages and support and resistance and volume MACD is pretty much all I use day in and day out, in different ways. So for this one, you can't really use the 200 on the monthly on most stocks because they don't have enough data to go that far. That's 200 months. But this one does have a 50, and that is the most important one that will come into play, for me per se. So this month closed, we're on the last day of the month, so this month they closed 25 cents under the 50-day moving average. So if it can gain that 50, I'm sorry, I don't mean 50-day, I meant 50-month. If it can gain that 50-month moving average, it can turn that into a support, which is a very strong support to have. So you gotta, watch the next month candle and make sure it can gain that 50-month moving average. So since I do like the monthly chart, I will move on to the weekly chart. So you have to like the monthly before you move on to the weekly, so on and so forth. So you got to find what you like on the weekly chart as well. And the first thing I see, since I already have the 50-week moving average, is it dropped down, hit that 50-week, and has turned that 50-week into support, which is a strong support. And then the next thing that really points out is the MACD. Look at it. It's curling up right there, and it's going for a bullish cross on the MACD on the weekly time frame, which can be pretty big. And then one more. Also, we're not done with this week yet, but it is over that 200-week simple moving average, which is a very good sign. If we can close that week out above that 200 week, then they can use that 200 as support. So as you can see, what I'm doing is, and I'm finding things that could benefit me in the long run. I'm not looking for 100% run the next day. I'm looking for a long-term investment to hold for months on end, and maybe even roll it and keep, holding it. So what I'm looking for is trends and indicators that are setting this up for future moves. So I'm looking for this to close over this 200. That way I can use that 200 as support and use that as a good baseline as well. And so we're going to move on to the daily, and I'll show you more. So right here, so I like the monthly, I like the weekly, so I have conviction in it thus far. And the daily, this, I'll give you some perspective. Up here, that was the all-time high, fell, and then it entered this area of consolidation right here. You don't want to play a leap call as soon as it hits this area of consolidation, because then you have to wait, and you don't know how long it's going to be in that state of consolidation. So if you got a leap as soon as it entered this consolidation, say in the low April, then you have to wait 5 months, 4 months, I'm not good at math, until it breaks out. And so I'd rather catch it on the breakout and possibly lose the opportunity of a couple dollars than to hold a contract that long that is just going nothing but going completely sideways. And so that's what I did. So you can see I had this trend right here, and then it broke out, and that's actually when the whales came in right here. So it all comes in correlation, you see? And that's the same time I got in. I could have waited and waited for the small gap fill, but it's, I mean, relatively speaking, that's just minuscule on the grand scheme of things. Another thing is, even this is the daily, I like to point out moving averages on the daily as well. So when it did that breakout, it also broke the 200-day SMA, which is another bullish sign. Moving averages are important on every time frame. Always keep them on hand, and that's what I look for. I look for breaks in moving averages, turns and support, bouncing off moving averages, whether it's resistance or support. It kind of gives you a direction of which way the stock is going to go. So this is a stock that I am invested in, and I'll show you one that I'm currently not investing in, and I'll tell you why, but it is setting up for a good. And I'm not doing this out of pump. I'm doing this to show you what to look for. I like this one fundamentally, but I'm not going to tell you why, because I'm not going to sit here and pump this stock. But I will show you the technical analysis behind it. So one thing I do want to point out, it is a young stock, ABNB. So you can't really do a lot of technical analysis on the month, but you can see that it did have a nice green reversal right there for the monthly. And if you move on to the weekly, it does actually have a trend going on right here, and it did break kind of right there. So, but you can't discredit this for not having a lot of history. You know, it hasn't been on the stock market that long, this and that. You can't discredit it. It can still be a good opportunity. So you just have to set your stop a little tighter when you do this. But I will show you the technical analysis of why I may be entering this trade soon. So you can see right here, it did break this trend line today, and it's been following this one. What I look for in a daily break like this, when it comes to entering in this trade, I'm not going to enter it in. You know, it's not a weekly contract. It's not something that I'm going to enter in as soon as it breaks this trend line. I want to see it open and close on not an inside day or anything like that. I want to see it open and close above this trend line green. You know, I don't want to see. That's what I want to see. That's going to be conviction for me to start looking for an entry. What will most likely happen is now that it's broke out, it will probably open and close above it, and then come back down and retest this trend line right here. And if that holds, then that's enough conviction for me to say, okay, this could be going in for a reversal now. This could be a good spot to invest in it for the long term. And along with this trend line right here, it also broke the 50-day simple moving average. Since the first time it fell below it in mid-March, and this is the first time it's actually gone back above it, so that's a very, very good sign. The MACD, I don't think it's going to go bearish. Like, it kind of looks like it's heading towards the bearish cross, but I don't think it's going to happen. It'll do one of those touch and goes where it'll touch and kind of bounce. Things to not do is, this is me personally speaking, when you want to invest in a company that you're bullish in, is to not go and buy something like this that is sitting at almost its all-time high. Whether I don't think that that Roku. I like Roku. I'm very bullish on Roku, and a lot of other people are too. But that doesn't mean I'm going to go buy a year leap at its almost all-time high. You know, you have to kind of be smart. That's why I like to find things that are beaten down and that are going against the major trend line, that have opportunity of being at the lowest that probably will be in a while, and riding them back up. I don't like to ride the wave that's already up. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of my go-to to it. Kind of a quick overview. I like to watch moving averages, trend lines, MACD, and option flow. And that's pretty much it. I really keep it simple. That strategy seems to work for me. There's different crosses and indicators that you can use with moving averages. I'm not going to go into complete detail on that. You know, there's different strategies and whatnot that you can really read into and get your technical analysis up using mostly just those tools. Now, I really appreciate you guys watching this video. If you can just shoot me a follow on Twitter, my DMs are open if you have any questions. I'll do my best to try to answer them. I hope everybody has a great July 4th.